Are authors secretly writing to appease the god or goddesses of the algorithm? Are trends the ones dictating what stories get published? Is book talk really the new gatekeeper of literature? Some may say this is the rise in anti intellectualism or the downfall of media literacy. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Hi, welcome back. My name is Anna, and if you're into reading vlogs, book reviews, and the occasional controversial bookish hot take, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment answering one of the many questions I'll ask throughout this video. Thank you. So, before I proceed any further, I have to start with disclaimers because I don't want to be canceled. This is not me bashing authors or readers because as an author myself, I do dabble in trends because if writing the book I want, it's not going to get me anywhere. I might as well, you know, hop on to a few of these trends myself, right? Because come to think of it, if I decide to not go with the trends, it's only going to harm me as an aspiring author, right? So I might as well, bow down and appease to the gods or goddesses of the TikTok algorithm or whatever algorithm is determined the what books get published and what author gets fame. Because we're all at some point chasing some level of virality. Why else am I up at 12 in the night making this video? Why else are you up at 12 at night watching this video, right? We're all just trying to I want to ever since my car crash, the words I want to use, they never seem to come to me. So whatever word you think I was going to say, that's the word I was going to say. So when I say writing for trend, I'm not talking about genre. I'm talking about writing with the intent to hop on to the what's hot or in style train, in hopes to garner some fame, virality, cash is king, make some money, get your book to number one, possibly get a book deal. One of the things I want when I finally publish my book, I would love for my book to be made into a movie. So when I say writing for trends, I'm not talking about genre. I'm talking about whatever is hot, that's what we want to write. Whatever is hot, that's what writers are writing. I'm currently I haven't been able to write anything in weeks, and I'm hoping that I could tap back in because who knows? I could write with all these trends. I could write the next bestseller, and so could you. You could be the next bestseller. All of us at this point could be the next bestseller with all these trends. Because which author, wouldn't want any of those things? I do. I could settle for I'm currently working on a trilogy, so I could settle for a 3-book deal, you know, 6-figure. Not trying to be greedy, or 7-figure if some publisher decide that they want to make finally make some black authors some cha-ching. So because when you think about in the olden days, trends happen a lot slower. When you think about the rise in vampire novels and dystopia, mostly talking about Twilight and the Hunger Games, it took a while before those books, really, really took off. But now, especially with platform powerhouses like TikTok, a book could go viral in days, not to mention hours. I've seen videos take off in less than 24 hours, so not even a day. Wow, times really has changed. TikTok, hashtag, book talk, get billions of views, and I guess that publishing houses And publishers are just, they want to pick up books that they think is easier to market, books that they see that are already following trends. And that's why so many books are getting left behind because they don't, they're very good books, but they're not conforming to the latest trending society norm. And that's a shame. And that's why we as a community need, we kind of need to somewhat stray a little just a little bit from some of these trending books or trends. And every once in a while, show us that unpopular book that you have. I'm gonna show you mine. Uh in my 25 things I want to leave in 2025, I did mention that I would love to see this book, get pushed out on Book Talk. And so I'm gonna read this book and then I'm gonna promote it until it becomes popular. That's gonna be like one of my side goals for 2026. I'm gonna push out as much unpopular, but if I do, then they're gonna become trending and they will become the trend. You see the cycle? We're always, we're just always trying to please the gods and goddesses of the TikTok algorithm. We're just doing anything at this point just to stay on the train. You know, it's everlasting, but I just only hope that when I finally muster up my strength and get typey and finish this book and do multiple drafts of multiple rounds of edit and try to find a what do you call that, literary agent, and finally get this book, some publishing house says, hey Anna, we're gonna buy that book, and then I get a big ass movie deal. Because with the trends, I'm not saying, like, as you can see, like I just showed you that trend books trending on TikTok is good. My problem is that I'm just sick of seeing the same books trending over and over. And like I said, my goal for 2026 is to make the Turkmen a trending book. How am I gonna do that? You we're a community. There's this popular saying, no man is an island, no man stand alone. And so you're gonna help me get the Turkmen. I'm gonna have to read the book first and then know if I really, you know what? Let's grab that. I'm gonna read the book first and then I'm gonna see if I want to promote that book. Because what if it has ideologies that I don't align with? I don't want to be promoting a book that morally I don't support. So I'm gonna read the book. So stay down. I'm gonna read the book and then get back to you guys. But like I said, like because of these trends, a lot of indie books and a lot of, blacklist books, has rose to fame. Some of which I've read and loved. Even books that have been published, like even last year, the Hunger Games really got really, they were already popular, but they got extremely popular last year, and I love that. I love that we're bringing back books, and more books have been turned into movie. Like, what are you guys doing with Colleen Hoover? I'm just like, I just believe that there's a lot of other books that could be made into movies. This is like the second, is it the second or the third? This is like the second or the third Colleen Hoover book that's being made into a movie. But never mind, I got sidetracked. One of the books I want to mention is A Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, which came out in 2011. Like, I read that. I buddy read that book with my friend. She's in the UK. I'm gonna have the only way we could kind of communicate was on Snapchat. I haven't used Snapchat in like 2 years. I'm gonna have to download Snapchat and see if I could reconnect with her. Oh, she should be on. I think we're friends on Goodreads. I could message her on Goodreads, couldn't I? Can you message people on Goodreads? I don't know. But we buddy read that. We're reading like 50 pages a day, and like one of the reasons why I love Song of Achilles, I love Greek mythology, and I love there's this series, I think it's called Helen of Troy. I love that. And if you watch Scandal, when I don't remember what's his name made that reference, you are the face that sail a thousand ships. Oh, I love the Song of Achilles. It's funny enough, I've bought so much book, and that's one of the books that I haven't been able to get the physical copy of. And I want to reread that book for 2026. That's gonna be one of my other goals. So I'm gonna read the Thorntman first. Then, if it's a book that I stand behind, we're gonna make that book popular. That's gonna be our goal as a community. We're gonna make that book popular, and then we'll really see how easy it is to start a trend. That could be my it's gonna be my social experience. I'm gonna see how easy it is to start a trend and how long, like, the trend could last. So to put a lot of this simply, because I did a lot of gibbering and ranting, if a book doesn't get seen, a book doesn't get sold. And it's just that simple, right? Book gets seen, book gets sold. After all, the algorithm gods loved engagement. And so with that being said, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, leave a comment. Okay? I need engagement too. And I don't really know much about any algorithm. I just know that it loves to be appeased. So you can appease me to the algorithm. So you leave a comment and you like this video, and then the algorithm gods will reward me with more subscribers and more views because it will push my video out to more people. Thank you. So kind of getting back on track, the books that match all the trendy tropes, the trendy genre. One of the trending genres right now is romantasy. And so if you have a book that is romantasy and you put a few shadow daddies is what we're calling them, and then you splash a little what do you call that? A little Fey guy too, and then you do a dash of enemies to lover. You don't have to do it well, you just have to put that as enemies to lover. And if you manage to make it a toucher or you'll die, you know, you could be the next bestseller. After all, trends, virality, visibility equal cash. Publishers love that stuff. And then even if you self-publish, I've seen if I'm not mistaken, I think Quicksilver was a self-pub book. It got really viral and then a publishing house picked it up. Like even if it's like the trends are not just limited. Like anybody, if you get enough virality, can become the next bestseller. No one says it's easy because it's not easy to write books. But you see, that's a problem. You see, with all these trends, if you want to stay viable, is viable the word? If you want to stay important, or you want to be one of the name known authors, you're gonna have to be popping onto a lot of trends. And with how we're in a fast flash society right now, no one really knows how long a trend lasts. And if it's like there's a lot of FOMO going on too. So if you don't want to miss out on a lot of these trends, you're gonna have to be writing these books in like a month, writing the book in a month, editing it in a month, getting it published in a month. So you're gonna have to be pushing out those books like in 3 months. So that's 4 books a year. And then there's still the fear of what if by the time I finish writing my book and getting it published, if you're doing a self pub, what is the guarantee that the trend will still be active? And so because of all that FOMO, you're gonna try to like do all of that in probably 2 weeks. And that's just me exaggerating in case you don't know. But like with the need to stay on top of all these trends, it's forcing writers to, produce a lot of bad repetitive books. There's so many shadow daddies. And I just remember, if I'm not mistaken, I think the Akatar series came out in 2012, and thanks to TikTok, the books got really popular, I think, in 2023. Yeah, I think it's in probably early 2023. And so there comes this need for every book to have like a Fae guy. I've never read any Fae books, by the way, so I have no idea. But I also have not read anything by Sarah J. Maas, funny enough. So I can't really say anything. But with all this need to stay on top of all of these trends, I fear a lot of these books are bad, bad and repetitive. And so it's just a FOMO at this. Everyone is so afraid of, everyone just wants to go viral so bad that I believe a lot of authors are just writing books for the sake of trends, which I don't think it's bad. Like, as an author, you're trying to make money and go get your bag. But I think as readers, we're the ones really paying for that shit. So while you're busy going viral, I'm at home reading your trashy ass book. No shade to authors, but yeah. So with my notebook that I have in my hand, I'm gonna share like a few, probably three good things about trends and three or two bad things about, authors writing trends. Now, one, with, trends, they help new authors, who are trying to, get their foot in, help them break into, the publishing world, especially if they're self-published author, they hop on a trend, books get popular, they become a named known author, and they're able to sell more books. And I love that for them. And then, you know, with the virality, it helped bring or brought back or revived a lot of Blacklist book. One of the books being The Handmaid's Tale, but I saw that's also a movie. But the books were written, I think, in 1998. I could be wrong. it it brought back a lot of authors that like I have from my library right here. Where is it? Right here. This book. It's The Outlander, which is like similar to the TV show. Like, I know it hasn't been talked about a lot, but yeah, through all the talk about TikTok, because when I talk about trends, like when I say media, I some people believe that books are separate from movies, and yes, they are, but I classify them as one media outlet because a lot of books have been made into movies, a lot of movies have now became books and vice versa and all of that. Like, if you were to research a lot of movies, like a good portion of movies were books. You just don't know that they're books because the books are not popular, the books are not talked about. And that's what I'm saying. Through all these trends, yes, I went down a rabbit hole and I started going to my libraries regularly. That's how I knew about Outlander. That Outlander was a book, and I did my research. And books came out like a really, really long time ago. Hopefully I could also make those books popular, Who knows? So I love trends. And then, you know, sometimes I really can't see. My writing is awful. Look at this. Okay. They help, readers find what they're craving. Like, sometimes I'll want like a specific book, but I just don't know the type, and I'll go and I say, "Hey, I need XYZ books." And then through all these trends, I'll find books that, I can go consume, like the bookworm that I am, you know. Now we're gonna get on to like too bad stuff because that's all I could think of. It's the pressure, like I said, the FOMO, the pressure to, write marketable tropes like the enemies to lovers, the fragile, I call it the fragile female trope. I don't know what it is, but it's these books that have all these fragile females. There's another theme that I noticed in books where almost all the girls are crooks. They're all crooks. And the guys are always, I don't know. But yeah, I call it the fragile female trope because they're always, oh, I'm so weak, I'm so puny, I haven't ate in 40 days, and yeah, fragile female trope. I don't know. There's something about these authors, all these girls, or oh, they're so fragile, but when it comes down to they can hold a sword. Like, you see what I'm whatever, that's this be just being goofy at 12. And then what I call the algorithm fatigue. You're so obsessed with the algorithm like me. Why else would I be here again, right, making this video at 12? I'm just so obsessed with appeasing the algorithm god or goddesses. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's just trying to please the algorithm. And so with this need to please the algorithm, you're going to be up making 50, 60 videos just trying to market this book. So I'm about to wrap up this video because I've been chatting a little bit too long. I'm just saying I don't have a problem with trends because it's either you're going to get with the times or get left behind. I just hate the fact that writing trends have become a requirement to writing books. And I just believe that under pressure, there's only so much creativity that you can muster under pressure. And if you're only writing for like, I don't know anything about phase. And if I was to like write a book about phase, just to stay on the trend, like how much research are these authors really doing? And I just don't believe that trends being a requirement. I don't believe that these books are getting a lot of, creativity time. And that's just my problem. And so, to answer the initial question, are writers or authors writing trends? And the answer is yes, because with the constant need to stay viral, the need to be like bestseller, go on bestseller lists, the need for visibility, the need to make money, who wouldn't be writing trends? At the end of the day, publishing is a business and people are going to write what sells. People are going to talk about what sells. What's being talked about is what's going to sell. So we're in this constant cycle. And so it would be unfair of me to, hate on authors for writing what is trendy because that's what's going to sell. I just wish that the need for trends wasn't also affecting the quality of the book because we are now faced with the whole quantity over quality. We have a quantity of all these badass trendy books, enemies to lovers, enemies to low, but the quality has, it would be dishonest of me to say the quality due to all these trends have not been reduced. Wouldn't you say the same? I'm not saying originality is that. I'm just saying that we as readers need to understand that authors are just trying to appease to the algorithm gods or goddesses. And as storytelling evolves, we as readers, we have to understand that authors are just trying to stay afloat, and ride the new waves of trend. And they're just trying to sell books. And I'm trying to read books. I just wish that with all these trends, we could come to an impasse where writers know, our authors know that, you could write trendy good books. It doesn't have to be trendy bad books, because at the end of the day, there's gonna come a time when the trends are gonna die. And when a trend dies, as an aspirant, I'd rather someone could still say, hey, Anna's book was a really good book, and that my book is not only known for it being an enemy to still lover. Like, if you've ever seen those book reviews where all someone can say about the book is, oh, it was a good enemies to lovers, and you're like, okay. So you're gonna have to ask yourself as an author, do I want my book to be able to withstand the test of time and trends come and go? And if you write a good book, tap into that creativity that you have, that is gonna withstand the test of time. Who knows? Like Sarah J. Maas' book came out in the Akatar came out in 2011. The Song of Achilles came out in 2011, right? I know nothing about Sarah J. Maas's book, so I can't speak about the quality of the book. I can say I really love the Song of Achilles, and yeah, it deserved the fame it's getting now. And who knows, when all of these trends die, the Song of Achilles could resurface in 50 years. But can a lot of the books that we're reading now say that they can, resurface when all these trends die and all these books are sinking? Will any of these books, like in 50 years, resurface or revive? Or will these books, wash ashore and be discovered? That's all I'm saying. So the question we all need to ask ourselves is following trends really bad? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. We're at the end of another video. Hopefully, I was able to get through to at least one of you. I kind of still suck at this. You can blame my accident, foggy brain, but thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful year, month, week, day, hour, minute, second, and keep devouring those books, you beautiful bookworm. And if I haven't been canceled, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.